The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. And this morning, like many American parents, I woke up with a sick feeling in my stomach, thinking about all the loss of life that happened in yet another school shooting. And like many American parents, I faced that sickening role knowing that I was going to need to take my child to school, say goodbye to him this morning, and say I love you, and that there were parents yet again who did this yesterday and have lost their children. This is absolutely unthinkable. And I want to just take a moment this morning at the start of the show to talk about a few different aspects of this that I think are important. Something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. This was the 18th school shooting this year in the United States. And no matter what side you are on or what you think is causing this, can we all just agree that something is horribly, horribly wrong? And I think if we all start there and then move to taking personal responsibility for what we can do, because something has to change, and we owe it to our children to do that as quickly as possible. I heard many different things this morning about we must do something. Then it's incumbent upon each and every one of us to do something. There are many different aspects of this, and some that have the potential, not some, all of them have the potential to affect the autism community, and that is why we're talking about it. I want to start by reading the release that was put out this morning by the Autism Society of America. It says, Statement of the Autism Society of America on Parkland, Florida school shooting. And it is dated today. The Autism Society of America extends our thoughts and prayers to the families of the 17 innocent high school students who were killed and those injured while at school in Broward County, Florida. We can't imagine the grief and sorrow of all impacted by these shootings. We thank the first responders and teachers who were there to help students through this horrific tragedy. Some media outlets and social media messages are suggesting the individual arrested for these killings may have autism. In some news reports, the reporting of his diagnosis may imply a linkage of an autism diagnosis and committing violence. No reliable research has found that a person who is autistic is more likely to commit violence than a person without an autism diagnosis. In fact, existing research finds that autistic individuals are more likely to be victims of violence than those without an autism diagnosis. In some cases, a person with autism may have a secondary diagnosis related to mental health. There is no confirmation of the diagnosis of the individual arrested. We ask that those reporting about this tragic event not suggest or imply any linkage of autism and violence. Implying or suggesting that a person who is diagnosed with autism is violent is not only wrong, but hurtful to the over 3.5 million individuals living in the United States and any other individual with an autism diagnosis. We again strongly encourage Congress and state legislatures to bring together experts on violence and develop a comprehensive and effective national response to stop these senseless killings. I think it's a very well crafted statement, and we at Autism Live agree wholeheartedly. There were reports, of course, in the night, unsubstantiated as yet, that this individual may have been on the autism spectrum. I want to say again, I think it is incumbent upon all of us to take personal responsibility. Whatever you think, do something. You can call your congressional leaders and hold them accountable. A year ago, almost to the day, a bill was signed that made it more possible for people with mental illness to have guns than previously. I don't understand the logic behind that. As a mother and as a former teacher, I don't understand that. But, you know, maybe we make mistakes and we fix them. I encourage you, talk to your elected officials and let them know how you feel, whatever it is that you feel. I also encourage everyone to do your level best at home and at your school to make sure that your child is safe, that they understand what to do and how to follow directions. There were some cases, it appears in the early reporting, that there were teachers who did not follow protocol because of the way things happened, which I do not in any way think was their fault. First, the fire alarm went off, and that suggested that they should leave their classrooms. But then there were later protocols, and it was confusing. But lives were lost because of that. Find out from your child's school what they do. Volunteer at your child's school. I take great issue with the fact that this young person had identified himself in many different ways that he was in crisis. And I want to say that when we look at who is perpetrating these crimes, and they are crimes, we're seeing mental illness time and time again, and we are seeing, if we're looking for a pattern, it's not an autism diagnosis. There is a pattern, overwhelming pattern, that these people have parents who have said to the school and said to the community, I'm having a problem, I'm having a behavior issue, and that they are not getting the answers that they need. We as a community need to make sure that our schools know what the resources are to be able to give people help, so that these kinds of things don't happen. And volunteer at your school, get to know, see, and recognize and encourage your school not just to expel students who are having problems. Can we not acknowledge that that is not, saying to somebody, you're not fitting in here, so you go away? Not helpful to anyone. Devastating. Our thoughts and our prayers are with all of the family members. I just can't even imagine what you're going through right now. We have to do better. We have to. Please take whatever action you have and that you feel that you must, because something has to change. All right. I want to take just a minute here to welcome you to the show and tell you that we are going to get through this and through many other things together, right? We hold hands. Si se puede. We can do this because we've done a lot of other things, right? We got a big show here for you today with some amazing young people who are on the autism spectrum. And we have our autism expert series that we're going to be doing in just a minute. So I want to remind you that we are going to be with you for the next 2 hours live. And Samantha's going to show you some of the different ways that you can connect, some of the different ways that you can, if you need a place to vent today, to spew and say what your feelings are, please feel free. You need a safe place to be able to express your opinions. So Samantha's showing you some of the different ways you can watch, some of the different ways that you can ask questions. I'll remind you, our homepage is autism-live.com. When you go there, lots of things to do, but I want to pay particular attention to, there's the computer screen, right? If you click on the triangle that's on the computer screen, it starts the live show playing or the most recently recorded live show playing. But to the side of all that is the live feature. Put your cursor in the box that says your comments. Type and hit enter. That's all you have to do. You don't have to log in. There's no password. There's no username. There's no credit card because there's no cost. It's totally free. It's totally anonymous. You don't even have to prove that you're not a robot. We just delete the comments that are clearly from robots. It's just a concept. In any case, I can't even tell you how much we enjoy hearing from you, how much we love that connection with you. So please write into us when you have a question, thought, or if you got a rant today, step on over and you believe me, you've got a safe place to rant. Okay, so do we think we have time for the jargon, Samantha? Or okay, all right, we have time for a quick jargon because that's what we like to start with, is the jargon of the day. And this is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym, and we try to figure out what exactly we're talking about. So today's jargon term is receptive language. This is a great term that you're going to hear a lot, especially in schools. So let's take a look at what our actual definition. You're going to have to full screen it for me, Samantha, because I'm blind today. Receptive language, the process of attending to communication, spoken or non-vocal, comprehending the communication, and being able to react appropriately within a specified time parameter, even when what is being conveyed contains multiple facets. Okay, that's one of our better definitions. I don't know about you, but I read that and it just brings up for me all the things we were just talking about, that people need to be able to hear things that are being said and reacting to them, right? It's not just people who are on the autism spectrum. Everybody needs to be able to hear and react. But let's take a look at what our working definition is for that. Receptive language is the child, because we're talking about individuals with autism, in particular, the child's ability to understand what is being said to them, but really it's the child, the adult, the person's ability to take in information and be able to understand it. If you have ever read Carly's Voice, Carly Fleischman, individual on the spectrum, who for the first 10 years of her life, her receptive language was severely hampered. And then it started to unwind itself and she began to understand what was being said around her. I want you to know that if you are working with someone or you love someone or you are somebody that has a hard time with receptive language, there are lessons that you can work on that help to develop your ability to hear things and interpret them. I am someone who doesn't learn orally. When somebody says something to me, I want to see it in print, right? It's hard. It's gotten better over the years and I continue to get better. Obviously, I have enough receptive language to be able to move easily through my life, and I am able to say to people, can I get that in writing at an IEP? Instead of having the person sit and tell me. I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. I would like it in writing. So but I can get better at it. So please know that receptive language, if it's not there, can get better. So let's move on to our question of the day. We always have a question for you. We love to hear your answers, especially on Facebook. What is your love language? If we had done a question yesterday, this would have been our question of the day yesterday. But you know that there are different love languages, that people receive love in a different way. Some people feel loved when people say certain things to them. They say, I love you, you're fabulous, right? That's the way that they feel loved. Some people, they like you to give them something. It's not necessarily something expensive, but it could be a poem or a card, but if you give them something, that makes them feel loved. For other people, it is a touch, right? That does it. For other people, it's that you do something for them, that you take care of them. So what is your love language is our question of the day. What makes you feel loved and appreciated? When you know what your love language is and you can communicate that to the people in your life, often you're more likely to get it. So what's the flip of that? What is the love language of the people that you care about, that you want them to feel loved? What is your child's love language? What makes them feel loved? It's taken me a long time to know what makes my son feel loved, because I tell him I love him every day, 35 times a day. That's not what makes him feel loved. The other day, but he knows that works for me, right? So the other day I went to pick him up from school and there was a case of LaCroix lemon flavored water sitting on the car seat. And my son opened the door and he said, Mom, I love you so much, right? We both got our paycheck. He got, because that's taking care of him and giving him something. It was very inexpensive. LaCroix lemon flavored seltzer water, not expensive, healthy for him, right? And so there it was. And I got the Mom, I love you so much, which I'm still riding on 2 days later. Know your love language, know the people that you love, their love language, and it makes things happier. Let's move on to our topic of the day because we're running behind here. Actually, we're not that bad. Topic of the day, getting what you want. You know, we all want things, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about wanting things. And there's nothing wrong with getting them as long as you don't trample over other people to get them, right? But I learned a long time ago, I didn't get married until I was 39, almost 40 years old. And I thought that marriage was not for me because I saw a lot of marriages and I was like, that's not what I'm looking for, right? And then I remember spending some time with a friend of mine who was on his second marriage. And the ending of the first marriage had been devastating enough that it was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, I don't think I'm interested in that, right? But here he was in his second marriage, and his wife was very pregnant. And they invited me over for dinner one night, and he had his son from the previous marriage there. And she made us a beautiful dinner. It was absolutely fabulous. And we had this lovely, lovely dinner. And she was pregnant having done all this, right? And at the end of the dinner, she kind of gave a big sigh. And she said, did everybody really enjoy dinner? And we were all thanking her and saying, yes, it was absolutely fantastic. And she said, okay, well, now that I've fed all of you, here's what I would like. I would like it, Shannon, if you would help our son clean up the kitchen, which I was already going to offer to do, right? And she said, and then to her husband, she said, I would like it if you would go draw me a bath, and while I'm in the bath, read French poetry to me. And he said, I'd be happy to do that. And I said, I'd be happy to do that. And their teenage son said, I'd be happy to do that. And she went off to go have a bath and be read French poetry to. And I was stunned, shocked, and surprised. But when all of that was over and we sat and watched a movie, and I said to my friend, I said, is that okay for you? Like, as a guy, does that work for you? And he said, oh my gosh, it's so lovely not to have to guess. She tells me exactly what she wants, and it actually makes her happy. So of course I'm happy to do it. He said, if you asked me to do something, he said, I care about you deeply. And if you said to me, could you go start my car for me? I would absolutely do it. He said, the key is that, and if I saw that you were actually thrilled about it, he said, I'd start your car for you every day. Because if I knew that's what would make you happy, and he said, in my previous relationships, all of them, sometimes my wife would tell me, or my girlfriend would tell me what they would want. I would do it, and it didn't always make them happy. He said, I think, if more women just said what they want and then showed that, in fact, it was what they wanted, relationships would be better. So I don't do this well, but I practice it from time to time, and I see that it's a really good thing. So I offer that up to you guys today. Getting what you want starts with knowing what you want and then being able to communicate it to people you care about. And if you know what you want and you communicate that to people that care about you, if they are not able to do it, it's for one of two reasons. One, that they really can't, that it's beyond their means to be able to do, and we need to be respectful of that. But the other is that maybe they don't care about you as much as you thought, right? So keep that in mind, but know what you want, ask for it, and then be mindful if you don't get it about, was it really possible? But sometimes it is possible, and people don't make it a priority. So there we have it. Getting what you want. We're going to talk a little bit more about that too. But moving on, we have a great show for you today. So the lineup, in just a few minutes, we have this new segment called Ask an Autism Expert. And we have an autism expert of a slightly different variety that's going to be joining us in just a few minutes, Nicole Chatterjee. And we'll talk a little bit with her about why she's because she's not a BCBA. I want to be very clear about that. But she's answering questions that are more about administrative because you guys have written into us about how things work when you're getting an ABA program. So we've asked her to join us to talk about some of those questions. And then we have Autism Works Now with us today, you guys. So I love Joanne Laura. She is just, oh man, she's a firecracker. I wish I had her amount of energy. And her partner, Susan Osborne, is with us today. We don't often get to have Susan with us because she's mostly working in schools. But Susan's with us today, and they have brought a bunch of this year's candidates for Autism Works Now. These are adults who are on the autism spectrum, of varying and different degree of skill and ability, that are going to be with us talking about themselves and about their job prospects. We also have some videos of them doing mock interviews while they are in class with Autism Works Now. They've got a big day here at Autism Live, and they're touring card services and doing some mock interviews as well. So we're really excited that they're here with us today. And then a little bit later on, when all that's over, we have a mindfulness moment and an autism in the classroom moment. And we've got another story that we want to cover in the news about legislation that is trying to make its way through Congress that would repeal some of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Very concerning that we have to talk about. So all of that plus much more. First, take a look at these messages.
Hello, fellow activists. In our last segment, we talked about step number 2, educate yourself. Step number 3 is get support. Now, any journey can feel overwhelming if you feel like you're walking it alone. Well, you're far from alone, because with 1 in 50 kids diagnosed with autism today, there are a lot of us out there. Of course, there's always the issue of financial support. Now, there's a handful of organizations out there that offer financial support to families in need. ACT Today, or Autism Care and Treatment Today, is one of them. Visit our website at www.act-today.org to find out more about our grant process. I want to talk about a different kind of support today, emotional support. Now, you can get that from other travelers on this path. Some of the best advice I've ever received is from the moms of other kids with autism who went to school with Wyatt or were involved with programs with him. Then there are the pioneers. These are the families that have gone through this years ago, and there was very little information out there. All of these people seem to have the desire to pay it forward. Now, one of them, Lisa Ackerman, who is one of my mentors, started an organization called TACA, Talk About Curing Autism. She actually took the concept of mentors and support groups and made it available to everybody. You can go to their website, talkaboutcuringautism.org, to find out more. During the first and most difficult year after Wyatt's diagnosis, I wrote an email to close family and friends, letting them know what was going on and the challenges our family was facing, and why we dropped out of sight. I was amazed at the outpouring of love and affection and all the help I received from that email. First, you have to be vulnerable. You can't be afraid to ask. Try this out. Could you cook me a meal? Are you going to the market? Can you pick me up a few things? Could your kids play with my kid and make them feel included? Or can you come over and clean my house? Well, maybe not that last one, except with your best friend. And maybe the best support of all is having someone that listens, and that doesn't cost a dime. So until next time, surround yourself with the loving kindness of others and keep the faith.
Welcome back to Autism Live. We have a new segment on the show that I'm just loving. It's called Ask an Autism Expert. And today we have an expert of an entirely different kind. I was about to say Kathy because we were just talking about somebody that I knew, but it's Nicole. Nicole Chattigney is here with us. Hi, Nicole. And I was just saying you're an expert of a different kind because the last two times we've done this, we've had a BCBA, a board certified behavior analyst, but we asked you to join us today because we had questions of a different nature. So tell us a little bit about what you do at CARD, Nicole.
Great. Yeah. So I'm Nicole. I am a regional manager at CARD. I work out of our Massachusetts, Rhode Island office. And I'm not a BCBA, so I don't have a clinical background. I come from the administrative and operations background. So what I do is same as all the other regional managers, driving business development and growth. Pretty much we want to open centers to be as accessible to our families as possible. But I approach it a little bit differently. So I have a heavier hand in the admissions process, in billing, in scheduling, those types of things, because I'm not writing treatment plans or working directly with your children.
But, thank you for your service because we need fabulous people like you because this is a part of the journey. Now with insurance, there's a lot of different things that happen. And we get people that write into us all the time with questions that an expert like yourself would be able to answer. So I'm going to start with a question that we had. Somebody said, I just started the enrollment process with CARD, the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. What can I expect and what can I do to get ready to start therapy? My son is 3 and just recently diagnosed.
Well, first, welcome. Thank you for coming to us. I'm always so glad that families find us. There are two main things that I recommend for families that are new to prepare for starting services. So one, we have a fabulous admissions team, and they're going to help guide you through the admissions process because there are so many different types of documents and forms and things like that we need completed. So they're there to hold your hand through the process. One of the things that they do is send you 2 parent assessments at the beginning. Having both of those completed prior to your in-person assessment at the CARD office is incredibly helpful for the BCBA when they're writing your treatment plan. It gives them that background information that they wouldn't otherwise have to make sure that the goals and the programs and the lessons are as relevant as possible so we can hit the ground running when we start services. So that's one huge recommendation I have that you can start doing before you even get in a CARD center. My other one is at that initial intake assessment, so your in-person assessment with the BCBA, they will have a good idea by the end of that meeting what their recommended treatment hours are for your child per week. So when you go back home, working on your schedule and your availability to open up your child's availability to meet that number of treatment hours is incredibly helpful. The first thing we do is the administrative team at the office, when we get that number, we start putting together your clinical team. So having the assessments done prior to your in-person assessment, and then once you have that assessment, working with your home and your home life to figure out the logistics to ensure you can receive that level of treatment. Those are typically my 2 biggest recommendations.
Wonderful. I'm going to move on to this next question. I have a friend that has a son who did a CARD program years ago. And she has recommended I bring my 14-year-old. It sounds different now. Back then, the therapist came to your home. Do they still come to the home for a 15-year-old? So I'm guessing the 14-year-old's about to be 15. I'm worried that it is too late for my son. Do you even take teens?
Oh man, yes, of course. Some of my favorite clients are the teenagers. It's never too late. Please don't think that way. We actually have an entire CARD adult program and curriculum, and it's targeted a little bit differently. So we work on things like having meaningful friendships, for example, or living independently as possible. One of my centers in Yarmouth on the Cape, we have a lot of teen clients, and we actually have rooms set up specifically for them. And they get dropped off after school by their bus, and they're able to hang out and work on things together. But we also, of course, will offer things in the community, in the home, in the school setting. We can go in the workplace setting for adults. So those are all longer term goals we can work on for kids at any age as they move through the process, especially the older ones.
So it's going to look much different than it would for a 3-year-old, 5-year-old. So it should look different.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We have teams working on how to, wash dishes and how to do grooming and how to initiate conversations, those types of things. But there are so many things we can work on at the center, but also, of course, the home and the community, the school.
Wonderful. And then our last question for you. We were with a provider that did home-based therapy and have recently switched to card. They are telling us that they will be doing mostly center-based. How does that work? Do we ever get to see the therapists working with our kids? How will we ever get to know the therapists and them us?
Got it. Okay, so there are a few questions in there.
Yeah.
So center-based services, I'll just try to go through all of them. They're set up similar to what you would expect in the home, except it's a nice structured environment, and you have access to the senior clinical staff that you wouldn't have in the home, as well as any card resources, so specific materials and stimuli. So one of the big reasons that we've shifted to this center-based model is actually due to the research we did. And to summarize our very large research study, basically we found that kids are learning faster in the center than they are at home. So we're trying to offer more services in the center. But that's not to say that we don't offer services in the home or the community or the school setting. We do. It's just it's something that the BCBA would put together as part of the treatment plan. So some services might initially be offered in the center, and then once they're mastered, we might generalize to home. So will you ever see the staff working with your kids? Yes. We definitely offer our families that are newer and a little apprehensive to come in and watch some center-based sessions at the beginning, and I know that that's been really successful and helpful for families. But another thing that you can expect is your once-a-month clinic meeting where your entire clinic team is present. You'll see them at that meeting every month, and you'll get to see them interact with your child, ask them direct questions. And then, of course, you're seeing them at pickup, so you can ask them, how did the day go? What did he learn? What are we working on? You get a nice synopsis at the end of the day as well. As far as building a relationship, I think I kind of covered that. So you'll see them every day at pick up and drop off, and then you'll also see them once a month at the center. And then for knowing what happened in session, you can ask at the end of session, but you also will be given 24/7 access to a skills account, and you can actually go in and see what they're working on, what lessons they're progressing through. There's a plethora of data at your fingertips, and that is accessible, like I said, 24/7 to parents.
Wonderful, wonderful information. Nicole, I thank you so much for the work that you do and for taking the time to be with us and explaining some of that really vital information that I think will make parents feel more at home and understand what the process is. Because some of this is a little bit, it's all brand new and it's a little overwhelming, right?
Absolutely. I know we have a lot of parents that have these exact questions, so I was really glad to be able to come on and talk about this.
Thank you so much, and say hello to everybody at the centers that you're at for us.
I will. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Nicole. Take care.
Bye.
Wonderful, wonderful young woman doing great, great work. We're going to take a break, and then we are going to be back with Joanne Lara, Susan Osborne, and a bunch of Autism Works Now candidates. These are adults that are working on job skills because they want to be employed. I can't wait for all of us to hear what they have to say. Stick with us.
Looking for some cheap festive napkins for your next party with your kids? Look no further. We're going to be making some hand-dyed paper napkins. While we make this fun activity, you'll notice that these icons will pop up. These icons lay important information about the skill and where to find it on the Skills program. Skills is an ABA-based online tool that helps parents create curriculum to help teach their children on the autism spectrum. And if you're already a Skills user, this will ensure that you get the most out of this fun activity with your child. Well, let's get started. The materials you'll be needing are paper towels, food coloring, water, a bowl, and rubber bands. Step one, you're going to take your paper towel and you're going to fold it symmetrically into a shape. This is a chance to be creative to see how repeating patterns are going to be made. Once your paper towels have been folded into different types of shapes and patterns, you're going to take your rubber band and you're going to use that to secure it in place. These are my folded up napkins. Now that they're ready, I'm going to take my water and mix it up with the food coloring and submerge the napkins in it. Once they've been submerged with the food coloring, I'm going to take it out and lay it flat to dry. If you leave it in the water too long, they're going to completely disintegrate, so just leave them in for just a moment. I've been very patient, and here is my finished pattern napkin. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity with me today. Until next time, guys, craft on. Bye!
To find more about Skills and to access all of the lessons you saw in today's Smarty, visit skillsforautism.com and click on the parent icon. Skills, the online autism solution.
Welcome back. I told you we were going to come back for the Autism Works Now, but we got to wait on that just a few minutes because we have a few questions that we have to deal with. That we want to deal with, not that we have to. So Laura D wrote in after the jargon of the day and said, what all can we do to increase receptive language at home and at school? What types of goals can we get the school to work on to increase comprehension? One of the things that I want to talk to you about is when we're talking about receptive language is phonemic awareness. The English language is one of the most difficult languages that there is, especially to be able to receive it orally, because we have diphthongs and triphthongs. I know your head just went, what? Right? But think about the word hour. Right? When I say hour, that could mean the hour of the day it is, or that it's our house, right? And the word hour has 3 different vowel slides for me to be able to pronounce it, hour, and 3 different vowel sounds for my ear to hear. It's one of the most misunderstood words in the English language. When people are writing speeches, they try to leave it out, because everybody has a hard time hearing it and understanding what it is. Your brain has to go, right? And when you have a little bit more difficulty hearing sounds, words that have 2 vowel sounds in them, like air has 2 vowel sounds in it, and things like hour that have 3 vowel sounds in them, it can be really difficult. And when you're putting sentences together with words, you might have to go through 100 vowel changes for your brain to interpret in 2 sentences. So what can we do about that? There's phonemic awareness lessons, and I held up the skills because they're in skills. They happen to be in the academic curriculum. I don't know why, but they are. And I still haven't figured that out. But if they're in the language section of academic under phonemic awareness, and they're very specific, targeted lessons to teach someone the different sounds. And there are teaching tips with how to teach them and exercises so that their brain gets used to them, which is a pretty amazing thing. So those are available in Skills, skillsforautism.org. You can go in and do a 14-day free trial. You do have to give your credit card, and they will charge your credit card on the 15th day, so be aware of that. But you could go in and take a look at them, or you can call 877-975-4559 and ask them to give you a free tutorial where they'll actually walk you through and talk through some of the different lessons. So if you see receptive language as being a big problem, I know as a former teacher, there's those kiddos that you're in the classroom and you say to the whole classroom, take out your books and turn to page 32, right? And there's always one kid who's, and then they go, oh, other kids have they have their book out. And it's as if they didn't hear it. And sometimes they hear it a little bit late. There's a processing delay. More lessons on that processing in skills. Often teachers see that and think that the child has ADD, that they're just not paying attention. But sometimes it is that they didn't process what was vocally said. If you see that you have a kiddo that's like that, you can ask your school to get skills. And I encourage you to do that. But I would also encourage you to work on these things at home and ask them in the IEP to give your child, if you truly believe that that is your child, and if they can read, ask them to give text notes when they say things out loud. It will actually pair for the child. They'll see the text and hear the sound, and over a period of time, they will get better at hearing the sound without the text, and they can eventually fade the text. Now, if your child does not understand text, sometimes it can be a picture that they hold up. Visual schedules are, any teacher who's not using a visual schedule with a child who's not got great receptive language really needs to be taken aside and talked to. And it might be that they just don't know, but you can request that there be visual schedules. You can request that there be text schedules. But those are some quick things that you can do. I also want to tell you that if you go into skills and answer the questions around these kinds of things, it will give you IEP goals, and it'll even give you the benchmark language that you can go in and say to the teacher, here's the language of what we want in the IEP, all in the right IEP language. It's a fabulous, fabulous thing. Yes, Laura also wants to know is, do all card locations offer center-based? I'm interested in center-based and live in Southern California. Does your Riverside location offer this? Also, it will most likely be private pay. How affordable is this? It is not affordable. Oprah can't afford it. Okay. So and that may not be true. Oprah might be able to afford it, but the average person cannot afford it. But if you live in Southern California, you have the ability to get insurance. And insurance still is going to cost you, but it would be a lot less expensive to pay for the insurance and then pay the copay than it would be to pay for it out of pocket. And it's very likely that your child is eligible for Medi-Cal, because children who have an autism diagnosis and don't have other coverage should be, I'm not an insurance expert, but should be eligible for Medi-Cal. If you go to get Medi-Cal, make sure that you get the right kind of Medi-Cal, an MCO that takes card. If you do, if you end up going through that whole process, you qualify for Medi-Cal, you get the right one, you get an MCO, and you get the right one that vendors with card, you won't have to pay anything for it. It is free and there is no copay. So just know that. In terms of Riverside, first of all card offices do not offer center-based. Some of our newer offices that don't have a center yet are working towards having a center. But usually when a center opens in a place, they start out with home-based, and then they, as quickly as they can, move to center-based. Riverside, I believe, has been around long enough that you absolutely should be center-based. And as Nicole was just saying, it is more effective. We all want to be working towards center-based. But the best thing to do, if you're interested in card services, is go to centerforautism.com. On the website, there's an enroll button. That's the quickest thing. You can go to the locations tab to see where the locations are, but we've already talked about recently, if you call the office directly, they are busy treating kids. They are not the ones who do the enrollment process. So your call won't be answered in a timely manner. The most timely manner is to click the enroll button, give them the starter information. They will help you to sort out the insurance thing, and get you on the process towards getting with the right center. They'll tell you whether it's center-based, and they'll get back to you very quickly. If they don't, you reach out to me and I will find out why. We got one more question here. And we had a comment too. What can we do to help a preschooler to remember what he did at school? I ask my 5-year-old every day what he did, and I don't get much info from him, even with specific questions. So we had a great expert answer this question exactly 2 weeks ago. So I want to encourage you to go on our website and see that. I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest of what she said, but I'm not an autism expert. So I would encourage you to go look and see what she said. But one of the things that they do is tell you to start small with small things. And the only way that you can really, truly do this is if you already know what the answer is. So you have to get in cahoots with the teacher and say, this is what I'm going to be working on, getting him to the point where I'll ask him what happened at school and he'll be able to tell me, and he'll be able to tell me with accuracy. So I'm going to start every day with asking him a question, and I need to know what the answer to it is. So either she or he, don't want to be sexist here, she or he can devise the question and give you the answer. So then you'll know how to prompt, because if the question is, what did you have for lunch today? And he says food, or I don't know, you can say, you know, was it something that was hot or cold? But you know what the answer is, right? So you know which questions to ask to lead to get the information out of him. So that's how you start, and then gradually you build it from there. But I really encourage you to go and see what our expert said about that 2 weeks ago. Do you know off the top of your head, Samantha, what that video was titled? We don't know. We'll find out. Well, she said she'll send a link so that you can have directly that link. But exactly this question was asked, and her answer was just beautiful and concise and fabulous. Okay, so and then we had another. Raina had said, my issue with leaving my kid on the bus to school, we have to wave goodbye every day and wait for the bus to turn. And if we do something out of the routine, he goes to school upset. I have been doing this for 2 years. Hallelujah, LOL. I bet people on the bus stop are wondering why we are so different. Good news is we no longer have to take a photo of him like the first day of school every day. We did that for a year. Well, you know what's lovely about that is that you can already see for yourself that there are some, that he's got some inflexibility issues, right? But that you were able to move the dial so you don't have to take a picture every day. And it's what I love, and I just want to congratulate you. You're such a good parent because you know that it upsets him before going to school. And so you have said for this period of time, I'm just going to do it because I don't want him to go to school upset. Now, later on, you might see that you can change it just a little bit every day. Like maybe, you wave less vehemently to start, right? You don't stop, but you wait, but you gradually can fade it. But that's when this is the thing that you're targeting. So often as parents, we feel like we have to target everything, right? And then we're miserable and our kid is miserable. It's like, what's the priority right now? That he go to school and be happy. So you're doing it. And I just love that. I just love that you're standing there and waiting so that you can send him off with the best possible thing for the day. It just gives me warm goosies. And another time that can be the focus because that can be changed, but right now it's not the priority. So air hugs, love that. Okay, we are, I've made you wait too long now. And did you say that you sent another one to me? No, okay, we got them all. Okay, so we want to take a short break now, and then we're joined by Joanne Lara, Susan Osborne, and the candidates from Autism Works Now. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.
This is Logan Shepard. At first glance, he looks like a typical American teenager. He plays in a band, loves hanging out with his friends, he doesn't like doing homework, and he's not really fond of broccoli. But Logan Shepard is not your typical 14-year-old. Logan was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. He was nonverbal, made no eye contact, and his parents were told to abandon all hope. Instead, his parents began an intensive intervention treatment. At its center was a quality ABA program known as the CARD method. This is Logan Shepard now.
All I really want to say is, I'm kind of copying Martin Luther King. I kind of have a dream, that one day, I can just, inspire people and never give up. Because, that's what I want to do in life. Because if I can succeed, they can succeed. And I will succeed.
To follow Logan's musical journey, visit www.facebook.com/officialdrummerrock or @drummerrock on Instagram. For more information on the CARD method, visit www.centerforautism.com or call 800-345-CARD. Rock on, Logan.
Welcome back to Autism Live. We are so fortunate today because we have a plethora of guests that are going to be joining us for the next 20, 40 minutes. But we're starting out with two incredible people and one of their candidates, Susan Osborne. We welcome you back to the show. You've been here before. Joanne Lara, who you're practically a regular on this show, which is, and honestly, we wish you would be a regular on the show. And we have Zachary Picard, who's with us as well. Now, all of these folks are joining us from Autism Works Now, an initiative that we all need to get behind because autism does need to work and they need to work right now. So let's start, ladies, by telling us a little bit about Autism Works Now, what the mission is, how this came to be, and some of the stuff that you guys have going on right now.
Well, the mission is to teach pre-employment skills to job training, so that our individuals with autism and related differences have jobs, because you can't get a job if you don't know how to get a job. And you need to have emails, and you need to know how to use Google Docs and Google Maps, and how are you going to get there, and how do you get interviews, and all that kind of curriculum assessment driven program is what we're running.
And I just want to say that you have created a mind shift in me, Joanne, because, we all say, well, people with autism deserve to have a job, of course, and no one's going to say no to that, right? But I think automatically people segment in their head and go, but not everybody.
Right.
Not everybody. And you have really caused me to look at that misbelief and say, wait a second, that's wrong. Everybody deserves to have a job, everybody can have a job, and that, people have ability, and we can talk about disability till the cows come home, but we really need to focus on ability, and that's what you do. And for everybody who's watching who says, well, but that's not going to be my kid, these ladies are really adept at working at the entire population of the autism community, and you're going to see a wide range as we're talking with the different candidates, but to keep in mind that really everyone deserves a job, and a meaningful job. You've been on the show before talking about how sometimes there are these sheltered workshops where they're sorting candy. That's not what we're talking about.
Not sometimes.
Yeah.
California, big offender.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about that. But you have a lot of initiatives that are in the works right now. So you have your candidates, and they come and they work with you on a weekly basis, and you're training them about the emails and other stuff. But that's not the only thing you have going on. You've got some pretty exciting stuff going on. Talk to us.
Well, we have a pie truck.
Yeah.
And that's the most exciting thing that's happened to me in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Not everybody can say that. We have a pie truck. It's called Glorious Pies. And we'll be out and about in your area, if you're in the Los Angeles neighborhood. In 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be up and running.
That soon?
Yeah, we're ready. The truck is being custom built for us in Orlando, Florida. It's coming out. Exceptional Minds did the graphic artwork for us.
There it is.
It's so beautiful.
I can't wait to buy a pie.
And that's not even the completed. Wherever you see white is going to be an animated character that the students at Exceptional Minds are creating for us.
Wonderful.
And then the logo, the Glorious Pies, is going to be our logo. With a piece of the pie, that'll be the logo. And all of our candidates, who you're going to meet today, will be working on the truck.
So lots of different jobs.
We're creating jobs for our individuals. They get paid. There's many jobs that can be done on a food truck. We won't start out by making the pies in the beginning, but that is a goal of ours, and a mission of ours is that we actually have the bakery, and we do make the pies, and our candidates are part of that process as well.
Okay, and Susan, for people that are watching and they're thinking, well, this is great, it's in Los Angeles. You guys have put out a book that has this curriculum. Talk to us a little bit about the book.
Well, the book was really made with that in mind. It's what our program is in a way that people can replicate it in another area. So the book goes over everything that we cover and and with worksheets. So we have about 100 pages of worksheets. So people can just look at what the curriculum is, develop an agenda, and use all those worksheets for that.
And there's the book, you guys, Teaching Pre-Employment Skills to 14 to 17-year-olds. We love the title of the book, but it's a little bit of a misnomer, because if somebody thinks, oh, well, I have a 22-year-old, just know that it's great for anything above the age of 14, correct?
Just know that my editor and my publisher are in London, and I tried desperately to get those numbers taken off the title. Because I said, that's not the case, and it's basically anyone
Right.
that wants to learn pre-employment skills to jobs training. And they wanted to push us into a niche, I think, because they had other books that they were putting out that had different age numbers.
Right.
And we fit into one that fit into their education system. So reluctantly, I agreed. But it's the program itself and the book itself is for anyone that wants to replicate an employment program.
Yeah, and it actually is the same program, except for a minor, you have to consider, like field trips are part of the program, so you have to consider if it's a networking event, is it appropriate for people under 18? Make sure they have appropriate, they have coverage, they have people. So it's the exact same program, except taking into consideration the status of a minor for any activities that we do on a regular basis.
We just vendored with Westside Regional Center, and they're vendoring for 18 and older.
Okay, so
For
everybody
that
hear
very
that?
reason.
If you're in the Los Angeles area and you want this for anybody, any person in your family, in your life that's 18 or over, vendored with the regional center, which means that you can get that and not have to pay for it, which is a really fabulous thing. But I want to say too, I like that it says 14 to 17-year-old, because I have a 14-year-old and I hadn't started thinking about, oh, this is the time that we can't sit and do this and wait until later on. So it's there for all of us now. Where can we get the book?
You can get it on autismworksnow.org. You
Okay.
can get it on autismmovementtherapy.org. Get it on Amazon. We're on Prime as well, Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Barnes & Noble, I think.
Yeah, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, Barnes & Noble as well. So it's out
So
there.
all those different places. Wonderful. And those same places, if you want to get more information about the program and about the pies, and we can check you out there. But we have this fabulous guest who's been sitting here so quietly while we talked business. So Zachary Picard.
Yes.
How old are you, Zach?
26 years old.
Okay, and this is not Zach's first time being in our studio. He was here 2 years ago with Autism Works Now, right?
Right, Frank Shannon.
Well, I wasn't here that day, but Joanne was here. Were you here, Susan? And my friend Nancy Allspot Jackson filled in. Do you remember interviewing with Nancy?
Yes.
Well, and before, you and I were talking a little bit about pies. Are you excited about the pie truck?
Yes.
And what kind of pie did you tell me you like?
Blueberry.
I hope that's going to be on the menu, Joanne, because Zachary likes blueberry. But I understand, Zach, that you have held several jobs. Talk to us a little bit about that. What kind of jobs have you worked?
Bakery inventory.
Okay, inventory. So are you
Yes.
good with that, counting things and telling the difference between different things?
Yes.
Very good. Anything else?
What is school?
At school.
At school?
A work program.
Yes.
But you worked at the Dollar?
Dollar Tree store.
Oh, I love the Dollar Tree. It's one of my favorite stores. What did you do at the Dollar Tree?
Stocking the beverages.
Ah, that's not an easy job. Was that easy for you?
Yes.
It's a lot of lifting,
Yes.
right? And
Right,
putting.
Frank Shannon.
Yes, I am. your-
13.
Yes.
13. The party surprises.
Okay, party surprises, and
Yes.
so you were stocking that too
Yes.
at Dollar Tree. I like the party surprises at
Yes.
Dollar Tree. Anything else that you've done?
Everything I've done.
Volunteer.
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 Want to talk about your volunteer
At
job?
Operation Guard to help the soldiers.
You volunteered to help the soldiers?
Yes.
That's a wonderful thing.
That's a wonderful thing.
What did you do to help the soldiers?
Cookies.
You made cookies or you packaged them?
Packages them.
Yes, and send them to where
Yes.
they're. Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
What a wonderful thing.
Zach, what is the name of that program?
What's the name? Program.
Of the soldier where you
Operation
volunteer?
Gratitude.
Operation Gratitude.
Operation Gratitude.
That's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Did it feel good to be
Yes.
working on that?
Yes.
Now, if you have a choice between working or not working,
Working.
you like working.
Yes.
Why? What do you like about working?
It is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get bored if you don't have a chance to work?
No bored.
You don't like to be bored.
I like to work.
Yeah, you like to work.
Yes.
That's a wonderful thing. I think most people like to work, really.
Yes.
Yeah, to feel like we matter.
Yes.
That's important.
That's
But-
important.
And Zach
But-
comes to our program
Yes.
on Thursdays.
Absolutely. He's one of the candidates. And
But-
so what kind of a job would you like to have?
But
Yes?
But what kind of job do we have?
What kind of job do you like to have?
Pie truck.
You want to work on the pie truck. That's
Yes.
a good answer because you have an employer right there who wants to hire you to work on the pie truck.
Yes.
Now, you like blueberry, but are you willing to sell other kinds of pies?
Yes.
Of course. Of
Yes.
course.
And they're going to have visors, and a red visor, a red shirt, and a black apron with the logo Glorious Pies, and black pants. So they have a uniform to wear.
That's wonderful. Do you like it when you have to wear a uniform?
Yes.
There's something about that. I even
Yes.
like it when
Feels
having to wear.
important.
Yeah, it does feel important.
And you don't have to think about what you wear in the morning. You
Yes.
just pull it out.
Easy.
And you like to get paid when you
Yes.
work, of course, right?
Yes, about to French Shannon.
So what would you like to buy with your first pie truck check? What do you want to buy?
What do we buy?
Is there something that you want to buy?
Yes.
What? When you go to the store, what do you like to buy?
I buy a pie.
A pie, a blueberry pie.
Yes.
Well, I know where you can buy one.
Yes.
There's a pie truck, and you'll be able to buy a blueberry pie
Yes.
from the pie truck, and that'll
Yes.
work. You might even get a discount.
Yes.
I like it. People need to realize that we all want to work.
That's right.
We all want to work.
That's right.
Well, you're a perfect example of that. And I want to thank you for being with us today, and good luck to you. I can't wait till the pie truck is open so that I can come buy a blueberry pie from you. Is that a deal?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, French Shannon.
Thank you so much. So we should take a break, and then we're going to bring in some of your other friends, some of the other candidates. What do you think of that? Is that a good idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, French Shannon.
All right. Thank you so much. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and meet some of the other people that are candidates and see why they want to work and what they particularly like. So stick with us, you guys.
Miss Laura, Miss Casai,
Oh, lovely. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Did you bring your resume for me? Thank you. Here, take a seat. So good. How are you today?
Good.
Good. So we are a computer graphics, and I hear that you're very good with anime. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I like reading manga and reading fan fiction.
Okay. And then, do you draw yourself, or do you do any of the programs? No.
Yeah.
No, none of the programs. Okay. So what could you offer to?
I do computer science, science
Yeah.
at my school at LACC.
Oh, LACC. Okay, lovely. Oh, and you are in honors,
Mhm.
and you graduated with 3.5 GPA. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What high school did you go to?
Hollywood High.
High. Oh my goodness. Excellent. What is hobbies? Have any hobbies?
Reading manga and fan fiction.
Reading the fiction is your hobby?
Fan fiction.
What is that?
It's made by fans.
Okay. Fan fiction.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, good. All right, well, thank you so much for coming in. And we'll be in touch. We'll give you a call. Okay, thank you.
Welcome back. We are here in the studio with Susan Osborne, Joanne Laura, and Lexi Kasai, and we're very excited to be here talking about Autism Works Now. Lexi is one of the candidates in the Autism Works Now program, and during the break, Susan, you were saying something about how you help steer what kind of a job, so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we talk about abilities, but interests are really important in skills as well, because all of our candidates and anybody on the spectrum, they all have these splinter skills where they're really, really advanced in certain areas. So when you're looking for job placement, looking for that Venn diagram, the thing in the middle of the skills, abilities, and interests, if you can find a job that matches that, you've got their interests, because for this population, that's really important. They tend to not
Absolutely.
have a lot of curiosity-based things outside of that, but when you find their interest, they are probably more informed or better at that particular thing than somebody like myself. So I think that's what we keep in mind, is those other two areas are equally important to find as far as job satisfaction.
And I hear, Lexi, that you are particularly good at computers.
Yes.
So when did you find yourself being interested in computers? Were you
Like younger.
really younger? How old are you now? I didn't even
20.
ask. 20. You look very young for 20. That's a thing to be happy about, believe me. It'll serve you well later on. So, and I understand you're in school. Where do you go to school?
LACC.
Okay. And are you studying computers
Yeah.
there? And what do you hope to do when...
Like computer programming.
Okay, so you like the programming end of stuff. Now see, I have no skills where computers are concerned, and especially the programming end of things. But this is of interest to you, and it's always been of interest to you. So have you had the opportunity to work a job or do an internship yet?
No.
Not yet. Are you excited about the prospect of it? What excites you about working a job or being an intern?
Learning new skills.
Yeah. I was asking Zachary before, I said, if you had a choice of not working or working on a given day, which would you choose?
Not working.
Not working. And what would you do with your time when you're not working?
Read stories on an app called Wattpad.
Oh, what's the name of the app?
Wattpad, it's a fan fiction.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that that's kind of typical amongst most people that, you know, depending on the day, if you said, would you like to work today, Shannon, or not work? There are days that I would say, I don't want to work, but I still want to have a job. I'm assuming that you want to have a job and that you want to have a paycheck. What kinds of things would you do with a paycheck?
Like download it to my phone.
Yeah. And because you have things that you want to buy, right? Like, does your fan fiction cost money?
No.
It doesn't. Wow, that's a good app then if it doesn't cost any money. But there are stories though that do cost money, right?
No, it's on the one app.
Oh, okay. All right. But I imagine that somebody had to program that app, right? Is that something you might be interested in doing, is creating an app that does that kind of thing? That would be a cool thing.
And also maybe an app for the Glorious Pies, right? So that everyone knows where we are, that they can download on their phones.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
you
she
can
knows
make
how
an
to do
app?
that. Yeah.
Oh, we have to talk later.
Right?
Because I might
Right,
have
Lexi?
something for you to do. I mean, that's an incredible skill.
I know.
That's mind-blowing
But it
to
can
me.
show, like the taco trucks have apps where it shows when people follow the taco trucks where they're going to be. So,
Or a website.
Or
Or the
we have
website.
the website and you can bounce it off the website, can't we? Yeah.
That's
She
amazing.
knows about all that stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we want people to know. When are you graduating and going to be out?
I don't know.
You don't know? But at some point, you're going to be out there looking for a job. Yes. And we want people to know that you have mad job skills, that you are able to do things that the rest of us are just in awe of. That you can create an app, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Really cool thing. Can you teach other people how to make an app? See, that's a great thing too. When you can do something, it's wonderful, but when you can teach it to other people, that's a really good skill. I don't know if you could teach it to me. I think I'm hopeless. Do you think you could teach me how to make an app? Maybe?
Maybe.
I like that answer. All right. And do you like being at Autism Works now?
Yes.
It's a fun time? Would you recommend it to other people in their 20s? Fabulous. Well, I appreciate you being here with us, Lexi. This is a little bit of an interesting thing. Do you like the whole studio setup and being on camera?
Yeah.
You look great on camera, I gotta say.
I know, she's beautiful.
You're looking beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. We've got a full day planned for you guys. You're gonna take a tour in a little while, but I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna talk to our next candidate. Stick with us.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Good. Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Eli.
Okay.
I live in California.
Lovely. And are you still in high school?
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
good. What grade are you in?
12?
You are. So you're graduating this year?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And what? Any hobbies?
I love doing everything except for probably just like buying horses because I'm allergic to horses.
Okay.
And being around cats because obviously cats are not my thing because I was at the place shed. I'm allergic to cats.
Okay. And so what is something that you do like to do then?
Play video games, obviously.
Play video games. What about any kind of sports?
Basketball, football. I don't play hockey though.
Basketball and football. And I see that you're on the basketball team.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, this is fabulous. Is that at your school?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely.
Welcome back. We're having a wonderful time with Autism Works Now. We're here with Susan Osborne, Joanne Laura, and
Eli Uppen.
We're thrilled to have you here, Eli.
You too.
He is a candidate of Autism Works Now. And so, Eli, how old are you?
17.
And I understand you just moved to the Los Angeles area from one of my favorite places on earth. Where'd you move from?
New York City.
Yeah, New York. I'm from upstate New York, but lived in New York for a while. I love that area. So 17 years old. I thought you were older. You carry yourself a little bit older.
Yeah.
And what are you interested in, Eli?
A video game internship.
Oh. What video games do you like to play?
I like to play shooting games, fighting games.
Okay. Like what? Tell me a name of a game. That
Call of Duty Ghost.
Call of Duty Ghost. Okay. Do you ever play Mortal Kombat?
No.
Never played that?
I play on my phone. That's
okay. Because my husband does voiceovers for video games, and he's in Mortal Kombat in some of those games. That's why I asked. My son likes to play video games too, so otherwise I wouldn't be familiar with some of them.
I know.
But
yeah, I'm not.
But yeah, they're a little bit. Now, have you played VR games yet?
No.
Okay, well, this is something we got to hook you up with because there's some really cool stuff on VR. But so you would like to do an internship with a video game. Now, would you eventually like to design the video games?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so are you in school right now?
Yeah.
What are you studying?
I'm in high school.
Yeah. So you have pretty much the regular kind of stuff that you have to take in high school. Do you have electives?
No, I mean.
No electives?
No.
And have you ever worked a job or had an internship?
I had an internship at a bird sanctuary before. I mean, old school.
At a bird sanctuary. That had to have been interesting, right?
There was different animals, yeah.
Yeah, and so what were you doing?
I was cleaning the cages, I was cleaning the poop, I was doing whatever I can to help them.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
That I got to see different kinds of birds. And
most of us only get to see those kinds of birds in a cage. Did you get to handle the birds and have them sit on your finger?
Yeah, I got to hold them.
Yeah. Now, see, I think that's fascinating. I would want to do that. And how long did you work at the bird sanctuary?
A month.
And so I've been asking everybody this question. If you had a choice, honest answer, and you have a choice to work or not work, which one do you choose?
I would work.
Yeah, you would choose work. Why?
Cause I want to get paid and enjoy it, and want to make sure I have enough money so I can save it.
And what would you save money for?
A movie.
Yeah.
Video games.
Yeah. And for you, Eli, after you're done with high school, because you're what, a senior now?
Yeah.
When you're done with high school, what's your plan?
I was going to be a movie theater.
Yeah.
I was going to go to VOCAD, then work in a movie theater.
Yeah. You'd like to work in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And have you thought about doing more schooling after?
Not yet. I haven't figured it out.
You haven't figured it out yet. But so working in a movie theater would be good because you like movies?
Yeah.
And
I was not that fancy, so.
Yeah. So, but you haven't yet applied for any of those jobs.
No.
But you're learning how to do that.
Yeah.
What do you think is important about applying for a movie theater job?
It's important because...
Like, what do you have to know to be able to apply for a movie theater?
Want the cashier.
So there are probably many jobs, right?
Yeah.
So you know how to work the cashier. What
Deal
else?
with employees, dealing with like other customers.
Yeah, dealing with customers. And are you learning how to do that with Autism Works Now?
Yeah, with other people.
Yeah. Is that a difficult thing, working with other people?
No, it's not the first time we've done it, so it's obviously not a difficult thing.
But I want people to know that at 17, you have all the hopes and dreams. You have things that you want.
Yeah.
And do you ever want to live on your own?
Yeah, if I have to.
Well, would you rather live at home for a while?
No, I would like to move, but...
And someday, do you drive yet?
No, I can't drive because of my disability.
Okay. So, but you need money to get around and ride public transportation, and you've got all those things that you want to do. And I just want people to know that you're typical 17-year-old in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Got things you want to do, places you want to go, things you want to do with your friends.
Yeah.
Like movies. What else are you saving for? I heard you say the magic word, you're saving. What else would you save for? Maybe a video game?
Yeah.
He's also on a basketball team.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been holding out on me. Tell me about your basketball team.
We're 2-0. We don't have a game for a while. Not for 2 weeks at least.
And are you better at being a guard, or do you?
It doesn't matter.
You're good at everything.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And how often do you play basketball?
Every for Wednesday.
Yeah.
My game's on Wednesdays or Fridays.
Can I jump in a second?
You absolutely can jump in whenever you want.
Eli, can you tell the viewers a little bit about the program what you like about Autism Works Now and the program on Thursday?
Yeah, it helps people who have disabilities, like some kids have autism, some kids like me have ADHD.
Right. And what are you working on specifically?
To look at the person directly and smile and photos.
When you're talking, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting better with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
It's hard.
It's not an easy thing to do.
We know, it's tough, yeah.
But how is that going to help you get a job?
Because that I can look at people and smile, people and take photos of them if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that is an important skill, especially in the interview process. Being able to look at people and smile at them. Isn't necessarily something you got to do all the time afterwards, but in the interview process. You guys are going to be doing mock interviews in a little while today, right?
Yeah.
Are you all set for that?
I think so, yeah.
You brought your resume, right? Susan has your
Yes.
resume. Yeah, we have the resumes.
And is that something that you did in class with Autism Works Now, is made your
Yeah.
resume? And was that something that was hard? Did you ever done that before?
No, I've never done it before. So it was my first time.
But now you've got the resume, and that's like half the battle in terms of getting a job.
Yeah.
He also, Eli, did you perfect or practice your elevator pitch?
I will.
Yes.
Oh.
That's another thing that we do in class. We learn how to convey who they are, what they can do, and what they're looking for in a 30 to 60 minutes.
Okay, can I hear the elevator pitch?
Sure.
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Sorry.
Ready? Go.
Hi, my name is Eli Eppen. I live in California. I'm currently at the Bridgeport School. I have a passion playing video games. My current favorite video game is Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm on the basketball team and I'm a hard worker.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
That is
Thank
an
you.
awesome
Wonderful.
elevator pitch. Thank you so much.
That's a great show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Eli.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to be back with the next of Eli's friends. Stick
All
with
right,
us.
hold on, Eli. We got
Stick with
we
us.
got
We're going to be right back.
Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Hi, I'm Stephen Gaber.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks so much for coming in. Did you bring your resume?
I did. Here it is.
Lovely. Oh, God. Lovely. Okay. And you're working now. Are you working?
Yes, I am.
You are presently working.
Yes,
And you're working at, I see, Trader Joe's.
I am.
Good. And you've been there for a number of years.
Yes, 6 years.
6 years. So why are you wanting a change?
I'm interested in the travel industry, and that is my passion.
Okay, the travel interest. Okay, good. Well, that's what we do here. We're a travel agency. And have you done a lot of traveling?
I've traveled to many places independently.
You have. Like what's your favorite place?
My favorite place since graduating high school was China.
I know China. I've been to China and I love it. Where'd you go in China?
Beijing, Shanghai, and Xi'an.
And do you love it?
I went to Beijing right around the Olympics. Yes.
Yes. Very nice. And did you stay at what hotel did you stay at? Just
Random hotels. I can't honestly remember the names on the top of my head. It
Okay.
was 10 years ago.
Okay. All right. And where'd you fly into?
We started in Shanghai, then we flew into Xi'an, we went to Beijing, then Xi'an, then Shanghai.
Did you take the bullet?
No, I know people wanted to.
Yeah. I took the sleeper train from Nanjing to Beijing overnight. It was lovely.
Mhm.
I know. I love China. What's another one of your favorite places?
I've been all around Europe.
Good. And what was your favorite place?
I just would like to say London because it's the simplest.
Okay, you like. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So if you were to put an itinerary together for somebody and they were going to Europe, where would you have them fly into?
I would start off in like London.
Fly into London.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then Paris.
And then would they take the
They can take a bus, yeah.
Well, goes under the,
Yes.
or you can fly. So they take a bus, okay,
course.
good. And you go to Paris, good. And then what would you do? What do you think is like your favorite thing to do in Paris?
The Eiffel Tower, of course.
Okay, Eiffel Tower. And what about, I like the Seine River ride.
I don't know if I've done
It's
that.
so lovely. You ride on the Seine and you see all the beginning of Paris and how they built it. It's lovely. And so one other place you would say to go? London, Paris?
Spain, Madrid in particular.
I know, I like Madrid as well. Okay, Madrid. Get a little bit of that Mediterranean lifestyle, right?
Yes.
With the music and eat late and partying. I love all the Mediterranean countries. Do you?
The architecture is the best in Madrid without a doubt.
Love it. Okay, lovely, lovely. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I have your resume, and we'll be in touch. We'll be calling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Autism Live. We're continuing with our series on Autism Works Now and welcoming the Autism Works candidates. We have Susan Osborne still with us, Joanne Lara, and we're welcoming Stephen Gaber. Did I get your last name right?
You did indeed.
Okay, cool. Stephen, I'm very excited that you're here. I met you recently and we had a really wonderful conversation that I really enjoyed. And you're looking very handsome. You got, is this typical dress for you? Is this how you dress up, or is this for this event?
This is for special events like this. I've learned from Autism Works how to dress professionally at all events, particularly networking events.
Well, I think that's a great thing to do. I love it that you guys focus on that.
Yeah, because that's your first impression when you come and meet with anybody. I don't care if it's a job, a party, anything. The way you look is the first thing that people react to. And if you don't look pulled together and presentable, it kind of keeps you from pursuing that conversation or that interview.
But Stephen, you are somebody, you already have your graduate degree. What is your degree in and where did you get it from?
I got it from Cal State Northridge with a degree in cinema and television arts with an emphasis in screenwriting.
Wow, that's impressive. And is that what you want to do? You want to be a writer and write for the screen?
Well, I'm hoping to combine entertainment and travel, my two passions.
Ooh.
I'm still figuring out what area I should go into.
Okay. So the dream job, it sounds like to me, would be to have, to be writing a script for a television travel show. Is that anywhere near the neighborhood or no?
His own show.
Yeah.
Yes, well, my own
Would you host it?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, I love that. Well, you know, in this environment, in this world right now, you can. You can. I mean, you know, at one time there wasn't a show called Autism Live, and, you know, we said we're going to do this. So you can host your own travel show, which would be a really fun, I would watch it.
I have some videos up on YouTube if you're ever interested in seeing.
I am interested. Where would we go to find those?
Stephen Gaber, like press in my name on YouTube and you'll see some slideshows, some places. Like I did a whole autism awareness event at the Philadelphia Zoo like 2 years ago.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And where else have you been besides the Philadelphia Zoo?
In general, I've been to China. I've been all around Europe. Wow. I've been to Thailand, Japan, Australia, Disney World, Hawaii, New York, Boston, Chicago, and I've even cruised to the Caribbean.
I love that you listed off all of those places and countries and major cities and Disney World.
Yes.
I love that. It's priorities. And of all those places, what's your favorite place?
My favorite trip since graduating high school was China, of course.
Wow. Why?
I went around the Olympics, and it was a time where I really enjoyed traveling.
So were you there for Sochi? Is that which Olympics?
Beijing and
Beijing.
And I went like 2 weeks literally right before.
And are you enjoying the Olympics right now?
I actually haven't been watching.
Okay, it's pretty. It's, you know, it just started the other day, but it's pretty exciting. But World Traveler, I'm already very excited. I would love it. You know, if you ever wanted to take a trip and review it here on the show, I'm going to make that open-ended for you that you can come on and do that.
I would love that very much.
Okay, I think we would all enjoy that very much. Very cool. But now talk to me a little bit about, you've been with Autism Works now. What have you been learning there that's helping you?
Well, learning how to interview is a key thing. The biggest thing I'm learning is how to be ready when I meet a connection or making a good first impression.
Yeah. Because that, you know, there's lots of times that you meet somebody and it can be a missed opportunity or it can be life-changing, right?
Of course.
Absolutely. Well, I gotta say, I think that you're doing really well because I met you at an event in December and we had a great conversation and there's no way I would have left there and not remembered you, which I think is really what it's all about, right?
Yes.
So I think you're doing good.
Thank you, Shannon.
I think that's wonderful. So now, have you already worked jobs and had internships?
I currently am working at Trader Joe's where I've worked for 6 years in Woodland Hills.
Wow. And what kinds of things do you do at Trader Joe's?
Stock the shelves, bag groceries, do carts, ask any questions that any customer may have.
And are you, do you think you're a good employee or do you think you're a great employee?
I think I'm a great employee for what I do.
Yeah, and why? What makes you a great employee? Because I believe you. I believe that you're a great employee.
I'm very dependable and always reliable and get to my job on time.
Yeah, and those, man, you know, those used to be skills that everybody always had, but they're few and far between now, right? And I know one of the things that I love about Trader Joe's is that they have good customer service at Trader Joe's, right? What are some things that they've taught you at Trader Joe's about how to give good customer service?
To always take initiative, to always be prepared for any questions the customer may have, to product knowledge, to try a product when we get a new product on the shelf.
And for people who don't understand how important it is to have a job, what has it meant to you having this job and having the stability of a job that you've had for multiple years?
It's meant the world because I'm able to do everything, but almost everything I wanted to do because of that job.
Yeah. And there's a certain amount of freedom that you get in your life, right? When you have a paycheck?
Yes.
And are you saving or are you a spender or both?
Depends on the week. Sometimes when I have commitments, I spend. When I have less priorities, I save.
Okay.
Somehow I still manage to go on my vacations.
Okay, so is that what you're saving for, is the vacations?
I'm just saving for life in general because you never know what's going to happen.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Where's your next big place that you're traveling to, though?
I'm going to Texas in April.
Oh, what's in Texas that you want to go see?
Well, because I've been to so many places outside the United States, I figure it's time to go check out places in the United States other than the big cities.
I love that.
Like,
where in Texas are you going to go?
Austin, Dallas, Houston.
Okay. I just have been to those cities and I absolutely loved them. But I got to tell you, if you can get to Corpus Christi, I really loved Corpus Christi. It's a little bit further south, right on the Gulf. I thought it was really wonderful. Do you think you could have time for that, or are you pretty set?
Unless the bus goes there because I won't have a car.
Oh, so you take like a bus tour?
Kind of, yeah. I'm using transportation.
Now, so wait, do you go with a tour with other people, or are you just taking buses to different cities?
Buses to different cities.
Wow.
He drives though.
Yes.
Stephen drives.
Okay, but
he's not driving in Texas, right?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, no, Texas, everything is so far flung.
Yeah.
I drove all over Texas this last summer. You don't want to spend time doing it. Better to take the bus. Do you read when you're on the bus?
Well, now that I have my phone, I can watch YouTube or
there you
chat with friends.
There you go. Very cool. I just think that you're remarkable and you got big things coming for you. I think that you're going to do really well for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And how much do you think Autism Works Now has helped you?
It's been a very big help to me. I really enjoy Susan and Joanne, and they've been really helpful on my journey.
Well, it's a wonderful thing. I thank you for coming and being with us. And I'm going to press you into service, and I'm going to have you do a vlog for us on some trip that you take, okay? A video blog. A vlog.
Maybe
Have you heard
Texas.
that before? Maybe Texas.
What would you like me to do?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, love
we
it.
don't want to tell them now. We want to surprise them.
No,
Of course,
Okay.
but
watch it.
We'll figure it out.
I
We'll
love
fig-
that. That's great,
That'll be a
right?
good thing.
Okay.
We'll
Perfect.
showcase you, and then you can show that to other people and see about getting your funding for your own show.
I also,
will. You first.
well, I wanted to let Shannon know and the viewers know that I also asked Stephen to write an article for Autism Asperger's Digest
Yes.
about his job, because we need to hear more from individuals who are working so that other families and other individuals can learn from them.
Yeah.
And so right away he wrote me a 500-word article, and we sent it over, and I think it's going to be in the next issue.
Wow.
So
Lovely.
Excellent, right?
Yeah,
More
that's
of this,
fabulous.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I'm going to obviously post my pictures on Facebook, and we can definitely do a slideshow when I get
Okay.
back.
All right, let's do it.
Great.
All right, we're going to let the next candidate come in, but thank you for being with us. And
Thank you.
stick with us. We're going to be back after we're showing wonderful interviews, examples
Right.
of
In
these
between.
fabulous candidates. So take a look at this one. We'll be right back.
How are you? Good. All right. Did you bring your resume?
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
Look at the resume.
Yeah, because we're doing like a little acting.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a motivated worker. I'm willing to do my best. I am not quit until I don't like giving up. I would like to do whatever it takes to complete a task,
Good.
even if I have to work extra hard. And also, I have a strong visual memory. I don't memorize things. I also have certain computer skills that I use.
Right. Do you work on Excel?
Oh, yes, I know about Excel and Word, especially
Yeah,
Word.
you're good with Word. And are you working now?
Well, currently, I'm interning part-time at some home design and subcontracting firm, but I'm also on the process of applying towards actual, hopefully permanent careers. or
Right, because I
long-term.
see here that you have a degree in city planning.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yes, excellent. And so you'd like to work where your focus is.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and we'll be in touch with you. We'll give you a call. Thank you.
Oh, well, welcome.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Welcome back to Autism Live and to this special segment with Autism Works Now. We're here with Susan Osborne, Joanne Lara, and Luke Guastafaro is joining us. He's the next candidate that we're sharing. And Luke, we're thrilled that you're here. You're looking very handsome and excited to talk to you because you are someone who already has your degree. Talk to us a little bit about what your degree is in.
City planning or urban planning.
Which is a wonderful subject in which we all desperately need, right? And you are working in your field right now. What job are you working in?
Oh, where am I working at?
Yes, where are you working right now?
Currently, it's called Windsor Smith Homes. It's a subcontractor, home building and mostly design, but they have also moved to more contracting and home building.
And so what are you doing for them?
I'm mostly doing research on companies and other contractors that supply material for more efficient and environmentally friendly building materials.
What a
towards
wonderful
homes.
service to the community that you're doing research on all of that. That's a fabulous thing. And is this we were talking during the break a little bit about gratitude. Is this a job that you're grateful for?
I guess this is the closest thing I had to a job. I mean, it's not full time or permanent, but it's a paying position, and so it acts as if it were a real one, just at a more lesser.
But to be clear, what you want is full-time work in a job that you're going to be in long-term. That's what you're going for.
Yes, it is.
Like everybody else, that's the goal here. And we've been talking a little bit with the other candidates about why that's so important. Because what is it what makes the difference for you? Why do you need to have a full-time job? I mean, it's kind of like a duh thing, right?
No, obviously, so I
Yeah.
can support myself and hopefully a family down the line, but at least at first, myself, so I can, hopefully buy a home and a newer car and do all those other things.
All the things that everybody, exactly, all the things that adults want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to the gratitude a little bit. What kind of things are you doing with Autism Works Now and working on gratitude?
Oh, with
Autism Works Now.
And gratitude?
Yeah.
What's the assignment that you've been?
Well, just to know about the things that we're grateful for.
And list them, right?
And list them. I don't know if I listed all of them, but I can think of quite a few
Well,
things
just
that I'm grateful for.
the assignment was one a day, so you could start thinking of the things in your life that you have instead of the things that in life that you don't have. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just thankful that I don't know, I'm not physically unhealthy. I've met a lot of friends including one who's kind of young. The rest are all just family friends that are older but still younger that have died in the past few years. I can think of a few people and of unusual situations.
So good that you're healthy, right?
So I'm just good that I'm healthy and my immediate family and other close family members are as well, that nothing is seriously happening with them.
That's a good thing.
So,
that's a good day.
Yeah.
When did you get your degree? How long have you been out of school?
About 3.5 years ago.
Okay, and what has the process been like since then? Was it difficult getting a job after you get out of school?
Kind of. I've held some internships afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Gaining experience? What kinds of things?
I first, right after graduating, I interned in the national parks in the Santa Monica Mountains, which is very urban area. So I worked with the problems of how it's impacting the surrounding community, like the flow of traffic and the flow of people and what they could do to plan in the parking and all of that. And I just basically observed problems like trash on the ground. And I took photos of it and even showed that to my supervisor.
I find it interesting. We were talking during the break about the fact that you come from a family of actors.
Yes.
That's sort of what the professions are. Your dad's an actor. Your mom is very involved in the theater. Your brother's an actor, and you're sort of the outlier with this interest in urban development. At what point were you little when you started to realize, okay, this is what I'm interested and I want to do this kind of thing? How old when you first realized that you wanted to be a part of urban development?
I can't think of how old, but I would say maybe since I was in elementary school, most definitely. And,
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell Shannon and our viewers about the way that you see cities and shapes and how you've been, that's been an obsession for you since you were little?
Yes, I have had an interest in cities for how they work for a very long time. I would look at why the downtown is in this location, why there are roads implanted in their location, and also why there's houses in one part, businesses in another. And I just wonder that somebody all has to do that together and has to make that and plan
collaboratively,
to have that happen. So just looked at the.
But remember when you told me that when you and your mom and I were, and you were interviewing for LA city planning?
Oh, yes.
And you talked about, you said, I see cities in geometric shapes.
Oh, yes, that too. Yeah, they are geometric
and
shapes.
Can you expound upon that a little bit?
Well, just that, I guess what I could say is that the different, by neighborhoods or roads, highways, transportation routes, they're all shaped in ways that lead to, even city centers are shaped. It's like a good way. I mean, this is not me. This is how a lot of historic planners have done that, as like a circular area, and then there's
like the Romans.
Yeah, like the Romans, and then outside is other buildings and industry. Then it goes to the suburbs and country.
Right.
It's
So it
all
goes like that.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think
is.
in terms of that, but it's fascinating. Because I know when I travel around and I go to a city, I can tell if a city was well planned or not, or
Right.
whether it was sort of an afterthought, that it's just sort of crazy the way things, there are different places of Los Angeles where you can see that they had a plan, and other places where it just happened,
Right,
And
right.
it doesn't necessarily work well when it just happens. So it's just fascinating that this is the area that you're interested in. I think it's really cool, and I think that you're an amazing individual that can add so much to whatever community you're helping to plan. I think great candidate for a job here, but obviously there have been some things that you wanted to learn. So you were at Autism Works Now. How has Autism Works Now helped you?
Oh, it has helped me out effectively. I learned better interviewing skills with people and know what to say and when to say them, and also how to prepare for one.
Yeah, and those are important skills.
And get them. And actually get the interview, right?
And I also hear that there's a little bit in Autism Works Now about networking.
Yes.
That they've been teaching you the importance of networking. Are there any jobs that you've gotten as a result of networking?
Yeah, I would say so. The current job that I have right now was through networking. I met one of the main bosses, one of the son. Actually, I met him at an autism event. I think it was a screening for one of the movies about a year ago, and then that's how he referred me to this.
Okay, and so you talked to him then, and that made a connection. I think a lot of people don't understand in this day and age.
And we're teaching how to keep
is.
that connection up, because you continued to correspond with him over the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it finally became in November, come in and meet my mother. Wasn't that it? Or come in and meet the director?
More of the director.
The director?
Does Mom's the
Yeah.
high-end boss.
Right. But I mean, it was, that's how it happens.
And,
So we're
I gotta
teaching
say,
that.
you're very good at teaching that, because you have a candidate from last year who calls me about every week and a half, like clockwork, checks in with me.
Mr. Rose.
And you know what
Rose.
though? It's working for him.
I know.
It is working.
He's going to
for
work
him.
on our pie chart.
Well, and I like.
so is Luke.
I'm never going to forget him in terms of if something comes up.
That's
I'm
right.
going to be thinking about him,
That's
and
right.
that's the thing.
And
so you're going to work on the pie chart too?
Yes, I would like to. I think that would be a good
Well, you know,
idea.
Shannon, networking is the #1 source of jobs.
Yeah.
It really,
It really
I mean,
is.
when you're applying online, you're applying to a bunch
They
other
don't
people.
know you.
Yeah, and when you're referred, there's somebody that actually can vouch for
Yeah.
your work skills. So
Yeah.
it's really important to meet, and as Luke said, it was a movie screening where he found his current job. So you never know when you're going to meet somebody. So that's why it's important to always look well, look
Yeah.
dressed and to put together, wash your hair. And all
I
that
think
stuff.
one of the things with networking is that it isn't immediate gratification.
That's right.
That it takes a
And you
while
have to
to
understand
massage.
that. Yes.
And I, because people, I think we all have a comfort zone, and we like to hire people that we know, because we've all had to work with somebody before who wasn't reliable, right?
Right.
So when you show up and we do an interview and I go, oh, now isn't he wonderful and isn't he fabulous? But when I run into you the second time and you're wonderful and fabulous, I go, oh, look, there's more evidence that he's wonderful and fabulous.
Right.
And then the third time I go, I know him, he's wonderful and fabulous. And then the fourth time I think, why am I not working with him? Right?
Right.
So it's that massage kind of a thing. But obviously you're wonderful and you're fabulous, which was what the point of what that whole thing was.
Right.
We think so too.
We think so too.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Well, this has been lovely, ladies. We want to remind everybody again where they go to find out more information, because for people who are watching in the Los Angeles area, they can be a candidate, or someone that they care about could be a
Absolutely.
candidate.
Thursdays from 6 to 8, and we're starting a new session in Culver City. Saturdays 1 to 3. So we're just starting up a new one with our vendorization with Westside Regional Center, and we're filling that class now.
So that's fabulous, and you can participate in that. But if you're watching and you're not in the Los Angeles area and you go, darn it, why does Los Angeles always get everything? You have the ability to create this program where you are, because Joanne and Susan have given you the tools in the book. So tell
But
them where to
also, we actually have a 1-day certification training of Autism Works Now. Yes, that we rolled out in August up
Okay.
in Seattle
Okay.
for the Trellis Center and the school district. And so it's a 1-day, we come in, it's a 9 to 4. We bring our manuals, we bring our books, we show you how to replicate the program. If you're interested in that, so in your community, or if you're a service provider within your organization, or if you're a school and you want to use it as a transition program, we're there to help you. So you can contact me, joanne.lara@autismworksnow.org, or you can go on the website and find the information as well, or give us a call. The number's on the website. We're happy to speak about what works for you. We tailor it towards you and your organization and what you need.
There you go. Well, thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Luke, for being here, and tell all the candidates how wonderful it was. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to be back with more of Autism Live.
A lot of adults don't really believe kids. They think, kids are kids, what are they talking about? But when a child stands up for what they believe in, it's so strong and powerful. I first got involved with autism advocacy 4 years ago when my friend was diagnosed. When I found out about my friend's diagnosis, I didn't really understand what it meant. But it didn't matter to me or change our friendship. I didn't look at her any differently. We still had so much fun together. Now I know that she experiences life a little differently than me, and that's okay. Knowing what she goes through has helped me to understand and be more caring towards other people in similar situations. I got involved with ACT Today because I wanted to do whatever I could to help. They provide options like behavioral therapy, medical care, social skills programs, assistance to military families, and much more. Being there for my friend was my #1 priority. I've been volunteering and spreading the word about the cause via my social media platform because raising awareness is a crucial first step. There needs to be more kids and teens involved to make sure that our voices are heard just as loudly as the adults. You may be small like me, but your acts of kindness are not.
Welcome back to Autism Live. Weren't they? I love Brianna Yeedy, but all of the candidates, weren't they just lovely? They just are a delightful group of young people with hopes and dreams and want jobs. So Emma has written into us and says, why isn't more money being put into the workplace? I work and they don't have the time, patience, and resources plus the staff to deal with my needs. They don't have any understanding to deal with an adult on the autism spectrum. You know, I think that is I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's part and parcel of everything that goes wrong, right? That sometimes, and I love Autism Works now because they don't just work on the interview process, right? But the interview process is a big part of it. But Autism Works now also helps the prospective employers and the employers to troubleshoot. They train them and help them to understand how to accommodate the person who's on the autism spectrum, because that's the skill set that's really missing. Let's be honest about it, right? That, you know, I always go back to Dr. Stephen Shore, who, you know, is famous for having said, when you met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And he teaches college, and he's an amazing professional and has been so effective in his job over many, many years. And when you talk to him about, well, you know, was it difficult? Did you have problems on the job? And he says, well, of course, because one of his issues is that light from above is very disturbing to his eyes. It's just very disconcerting. So he had said to them, and this was years ago, I think things have gotten much more comfortable now, but he had said years ago, listen, is it going to be a problem if I wear a baseball hat while I teach? And fortunately, he was at a college where they were like, yeah, no, you're fabulous. We'll deal with the fact that you're wearing a baseball hat. And that some people are going to read that as a, you know, a lack of, I don't know what, decorum. So he wears a baseball hat, and it's funny, even just doing this, I'm like, yeah, that is a much more pleasurable experience, isn't it, than having light cascade on you from above. And they accommodated. It was small, but you know that there's some pencil pushing putzes who would be like, no, I'm sorry, you can't wear a hat while you're teaching college. It shows right? And that those are the people that we need to get their minds opened and say you know, you would miss out on having one of the most dynamic professors of all time if you don't accommodate this little small thing. So you're absolutely right, but places like Autism Works now are addressing that. I will tell you also that there have been many other initiatives around the country in the last few years, especially Stern, and some of the different programs that are being set up with different employers. They're looking at exactly that. At the individual place that you're at, they may not, but you know, you have rights, and that's one of the things that we have to get to today, which I totally forgot about. We have to talk about the ADA. You have rights under the Americans with Disabilities. If you are in the United States, you are protected in your job, and you have the ability to go to your HR director and say, here's one of the issues that I'm having that is a result of my disability. I hate having to use that kind of language, but it makes you protected. So they cannot fire you because you've come forward and said this. You become a protected individual. And right now, if you guys subscribe to The Hill, which is a wonderful website, you can go there, thehill.com. There is a wonderful opinion piece that is on there that the title of it is, I helped pass disabilities reform. I know the cost if it's gutted. And this comes to from one of the friends of ours at the show here, Tony Coelho. He was a representative here in the state of California. And when he was a representative, he helped to craft ADA. And right now, he is very concerned because there is a bill that is currently going through the House. It's H.R. 620, and we all need to commit that to memory. H.R. 620, and it's called, get ready for this, because it's not what it actually sounds like, it's called the ADA Education and Reform Act. Doesn't that sound great? Well, because ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. And so it sounds like, oh, we're going to get more, right? No. At the heart of this bill, and believe me, this is being peddled in a way that is really disingenuous, and which is one of the things that Tony talks about in his blog here. They're trying to, because it's going to be good for business, you guys, that the poor business owners who have to follow all these rules for the ADA, and they have to have ramps, and it's so hard, and it costs money, and if they don't do it, they could get fined, in some cases lose their business, and that's not good for business. This is what they're touting. But basically what they're saying is that businesses that for so long have been compliant with ADA, which means you got to have a ramp. You got to have a way for people to get in and out. And you got to have a bathroom that they can get in and out of so that we're not discriminating against people. What they're saying now is we don't really need that all the time. Sometimes it's overkill. So what we'll do is we'll remove all the regulations. And if somebody comes to visit and they see that they're having a problem, then they can petition through a lengthy process and show reasons why they're being discriminated against. And then the business owner will just have to show that they're taking steps. Okay. If you've never had a family member that has a physical disability and has trouble getting places, that all can sound really reasonable, right? I was raised by a wonderful woman who was born with both of her feet club feet. Very unusual. You know, there's a lot of people with one club foot. Both of my mother's feet were facing backwards. She spent most of her life in casts or in a wheelchair or on crutches or with a cane with multiple surgeries. And I watched as a young kid as my mother took us places and we couldn't go. And it wasn't just her that couldn't go, it was the whole family. There were museums that we couldn't get into. There were restaurants that we couldn't get into. There were places that just became, I guess we don't get to go because my mother had a physical disability. I can tell you what it feels like when you see everybody else going in and your family can't because there's only stairs. That's all there is. And when ADA came into being and there were ramps, it wasn't just my mother who got more access, it was our entire family. And it wasn't just the access to that place, it was a feeling of you matter and that you belong. I want you to remember that there are more people with handicaps now in the United States than ever before, and a lot of them are veterans who've lost a limb because they were out doing a job that our government sent them to do. We have a right and a responsibility to make sure that they have the right to have access, not only for them, but certainly for them and for their families. So you got two things on your agenda today. Call your Congress people and tell them what you think that they need to do about the school shootings, but also let them know that this H.R. 620 is a pile of steaming poo. And what it does is it gives businesses the right to say there are a whole class of people that we don't have to allow in. And be careful, you allow that, what's next? You know what I'm saying? Okay, we had another question who came into us. Somebody wrote in and said, my son has a lot of symptoms of autism, but he's making such steady progress that I don't think he needs a diagnosis yet. He is definitely quirky, but I'm not sure if he needs the diagnosis. He's 2.5. He's talking. He toe walks and is fairly rigid. Is it possible the rigidity will improve with age, or do you think I should seek diagnosis and possibly ABA? Okay. Well, look, I always say at the start of this show, I'm not an autism expert. I'm a mom, but I spend time with a lot of experts. And here is what I have to say to you. I don't know whether your child has autism or not, and really no one. If I could have a panel of experts, and they wouldn't be able to tell you from this amount of information whether your child has autism. But your child is 2.5, and you've described 2 symptoms, one toe walking and one rigidity. Now, if it's just that, he's not going to qualify for an autism diagnosis. But the fact that you found a show called Autism Live and wrote in suggests to me that there might be more to it. And I will tell you this is what I know for sure, that at 2.5, if you go and you take your child to a reputable person and have them looked at, you'll get an answer. You may not get the definitive answer, but you'll get an answer. And if they say your child needs more support, then you will be so glad that you went and asked. And that if you don't, because right now you don't know, right? It's that Schrodinger's cat, that it could be, it could not be. You don't know. So in this moment in time, both are true and both are false, right? Because you just don't know. And if you wait, and when he's 4, you take him and you get a diagnosis, then you will have so much guilt and sorrow and grief because you didn't go sooner. Because if you get the diagnosis right now at 2.5, you're in the best possible window to have your child not be affected by this for the rest of their life. That's the truth. I know that. My son was 2.5 at diagnosis, and we got the help that we needed. And he has, in my opinion, the world is his oyster. He's still going to have things that he is going to do differently, but he has the ability to do what he wants to do, and that's all I ever wanted for him. But I know parents who were talked out of going and waited until later, and they all are like, I messed up. And their guilt is huge. Don't do that to yourself. Just go. Just go and see, make the appointment, go and see, be honest, and see what they say. It's very interesting that if they say to you, nope, not autism, listen to your gut afterwards. Because if your gut goes, not sure I got the right diagnosis, don't let up on that either. If they say to you, yes, autism, very high functioning, but autism, you will get a prescription and you will be able to get ABA. You may later on go, I'm not sure but you'll still get the help. And right now, more than anything, your child needs the help. So I'm going to tell you, brave it, go get an appointment. Hopefully your insurance will pay for it, because otherwise it's not inexpensive. But now's a good time to look at your insurance and see if you need a retool before anything else happens. But please go check. If they say no, you're like, okay, there we are. If they say yes, you'll be so glad that you checked at 2.5. It makes a huge, huge difference. Okay, we don't even have time to go to a break, but I want to go quickly to our mindfulness moment because it's a good one. So part of being mindful, I know everybody always thinks, oh, it's meditating, I'm going to sit for a while. We're not all good at meditating, right? But there are a lot of meditative actions, right? And last week we had mentioned vision boards. So I thought, well, we're just going to bring that up because when you want something in life, and today was about getting what you want, right? When you want something in life, stop and think about it from this perspective. If you look around the room at everything that's around the room, it was all created by someone who had an idea. I mean, I'm sitting in an office building, in a high-rise office building that wasn't here at one point. Somebody had an idea, they had a visual image in their head, and then they drew it out on paper, and then they talked to other people, and then they bought supplies, and people came, and they built this building. It didn't used to be here. And so every dream that you have, everything that you want is in your head right now, and getting what you want is about getting it from dream state to reality, right? And part of how you can do that is name it and claim it, right? So make yourself a vision board with everything that you want and put it someplace where you can look at. By the way, it could be this small, it could be this big. You put it in your bathroom. Nobody else has to see it, right? But it's meditative. It's mindful because you're asking yourself, what would really make me happy? What do I really want? And you know what also happens when you do that is it starts you to think about, what can I do right now? What can I do to get there? Or what do I already have that I didn't realize? They did a show, and I don't know why it didn't take off, but the same guy who hosts The Amazing Race did this show where he would go and find people who had these dreams, things that they had never had come to fruition, and they would give them a piece of money and give them access to people who could teach them how to do it. And he said, you know, what he discovered through all of it was that it was very little money involved, that it was about making a phone call and saying to somebody, you know, can you show me how to do this to make people's dreams come happen? So name it, claim it, and make yourself a vision board. What do you want? Because getting what you want was what today's subject was. I hope you get what you want. All right, we are totally out of time, but I just want to tell you how much I adore all of you and how much it means to me to have this time to be with you and share the things that we share here. You're like family. I say we hold hands, we do this together. Si se puede, right? Okay, we're back next week with big shows as we're ramping up to our April shows, so make sure that you're with us. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.